So what has this saga done to Mike Ashley's reputation, both business and personal? With me is Keith Griggs, a reputation management expert. So Keith, what else does Mike Ashley have to do to rebuild his reputation?
Well, I think really he needs an independent review how to go forward, especially with corporate governance, because he's talking about, I think, extending the review by his lawyers, but people are saying, well, that's not independent.
Because it's by his lawyers, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
And in terms of his wider business activities, does it seem to be having any knock-on effect in your view?
I don't think it's that bad for his other activities, no.
Because, I mean, clearly profits are down at Sports Direct,
Sure.
partly because he's just had to raise salaries for a lot of the workers.
That's right, yes.
But in terms of how he manages the business there on after, I mean, there've got to be meaningful changes quite apart from independent reviews, haven't there?
Sure. Well, he has announced a few changes today, which is a good first step. Now, if he has more, if he has this review for corporate governance, then presumably after that he will, if he implements it, he'll have more fully independent non-exec directors, which will hopefully give them a better balance of power, and which would mean that these sort of abuses won't reoccur.
But this is the problem. He owns 55% of the company.
Yes.
He effectively calls all the shots. I mean, Keith Helliwell, the chairman, is his position sustainable?
Well, if Mike wants to, he can keep Keith, but I think he's going to get a lot of stick for it. So I think to really save his reputation and also Sports Direct, I think he'd be probably better off letting go of him.
Well, interestingly, we've just heard in the last few moments, Sports Direct, they've obviously got their AGM tomorrow, have said that they're going to permit a staff representative to join the board. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's a good thing. Obviously, the more the board has better representation, the better. Of course, it doesn't help necessarily the agency staff.
And of course, I guess there's a question is whether that someone comes from the unions or whether they've been directly nominated by Mike Ashley himself.
Well, obviously, yes, he'll probably want to nominate himself, but obviously the unions will want to nominate him.
I mean, what sort of character is Mike Ashley, though? I mean, clearly he's going to get a vote against his chairman tomorrow, the likes of Royal London Asset Management, Legal in General. They've all said they're going to vote against Keith Helliwell's reappointment as chairman. Do you think he'll really care that much?
Well, he's obviously very thick-skinned, and he's carried on this path so far. Now I think he's starting to realise that it's not just a question of not being liked. There's also money to do with the investors and, you know, obviously the share price, which affects him directly.
I mean, Simon Goodley making the point there that investors didn't really care about working practices at the company until the share price started to fall.
Right.
I mean, do you think the shareholders emerged from this with much credit?
Obviously, they should have acted sooner, but it's easy to say these things in retrospect.
All right, Keith Griggs, thanks for that.